Okay, this is one of the simplest dye mushrooms that you can start with. It's found in California starting in about October, and it doesn't really need the rains to show up. Mine in Forestville used to show up on October 1st, rain or no rain at all. And it's found growing at the base most commonly of Doug fir trees, but sometimes pine trees on the coast. And it's a polypore. It does not have gills. It has pores underneath right here instead of gills. And when it's young and fresh, it always has this bright yellow rim around this. And I think this is the stage in which it gives the best dye, the brightest dye. And it's fairly common. It's a mushroom that will cause trees to rot. And so there's no harm in picking it all because the mycelium is already into the tree. There's nothing you can do about it. And sooner or later, that tree is going to pass away. I find it's best just to tear it into little bits and pieces, about the size of a quarter. And shall we just put them straight into the pot?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hand them to you to put into the pot. Yeah, this is what Miriam always called the Dyer's Polypore. Its Latin name is Phaeolus schweinitzii. And it will give a dye with or without a mordant. But if you pre-mordant your yarn with alum, you'll get a nice bright yellow dye. If you pre-mordant your yarn with iron, you can go toward olive green. You can also get the olive green by adding iron at the end of the dye as well. And it comes up in large plate-like rosettes like this. You'll see some of the different layers, one on top of the other. And when it first shows up, it's sometimes just a real brilliant yellow, and then it grows very fast over the period of a couple days or a week. And then it starts developing the brown in the inside. The underside of the phaeolus are pores rather than gills. And it'll start off with a very light yellow color, sort of a greenish yellow, and then it gets darkened as it ages. All during the first season, this mushroom can be used in any stage that you find it. But the best color, and if you have a little bit of mold on it, that doesn't matter. That won't change the color at all. But this is a very typical, perfect specimen. It's more often found at the base of the Doug fir trees, but sometimes you can find it growing in shelves right up the side of the tree too. Not too high up, but up just from the the base of the trunk of the tree.
I've also found them growing on the ground near the trunk of a tree.
Yes.
Because I'm assuming the underground, the root system.
That's right.
That it's sprouting out from.
That's right. So it'll be found, maybe 10, 15, 20 feet away, as far away as that. But it needs to be somehow attached with the mycelium to the tree. And this mushroom is really when I find this mushroom, I know that mushroom season has started.
Normally you would weigh this.
Well, that's interesting.
Which we did not do, but that's okay, I think.
And a lot of dyers like to use the dry mushroom because then they can have better control over proportion using weight. Mm-hmm. And they'll use a proportion of 1:1 for fungus to fiber. Mm-hmm. However, I think that the best color comes from when it's fresh. And one mushroom this size will probably dye a couple pounds of wool. And Miriam used to say that she never exhausted a dye bath from Phaeolus.
So even though we didn't weigh it, it's a guarantee that this is going to dye a lot of yarn.
Yes, absolutely.
So maybe we should get a spoon and let this cook for a little while, because I think we're going to run out of room for the yarn.
Okay. We'll put this last batch in and call it a good.
Let's call it good.
And this can be saved and used at another date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think this is all mushroom at this point, which is going to make a very bright yellow yarn.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
I think you're right.
Okay.
The color's just starting. Ideally, you can let it simmer for about an hour.
Okay. So we'll simmer this for an hour and then we're going to add our yarn.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll add wet pre-mordanted yarn.
And I did already pre-mordant yarn and it's still wet.
Perfect.
We're so prepared.
Excellent.
All right, I think we should check it, Mom.
Okay, let's see what it looks like.
I'm getting the steam right up my nose.
Ooh, that's perfect.
Yeah, I think that looks perfect. All right, I have yarn down here.
Okay, I'm going to say one thing.
Yes.
Quite often, people will strain out the mushroom before they put the yarn in.
Yeah.
But I always like to put the yarn right in with the mushroom because you get the more intense dye.
Okay. I also like doing it that way.
Okay.
And this pot has so much mushroom in it that it will likely be, I think there's a higher chance of it being a little bit of an uneven dye, but I think that's okay.
Okay.
But if someone wanted a very even dye, then perhaps they should strain it out. But
yes, that's a good point.
But that's not our style.
No.
Okay. Oh boy. This is a very concentrated. This is very concentrated.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh.
There's a lot of mushroom in this pot.
Yes. This is the mother pot. And then you can do many more dyes with the same pot over and over and over again. Oh, that's incredible. Oh, and that's mordanted with alum?
Yeah, straight alum, no cream of tartar.
Potassium alum.
Yeah.
How intense do you want your yellow to be?
Well, this is very intense already. I'm thinking it would be done, but is this enough time for the dye to absorb?
I would say at least 15 minutes.
Okay, so we'll leave
because
it.
it's going to, when it dries, it's going to be lighter.
Okay. So even though this is incredibly bright right now,
We'll
leave it in for at least another 15 minutes because we want
no longer.
We want the dye to completely absorb into the fiber. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll just leave it. I turned it down very low.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I have more yarn, so I'll add more yarn because I think this color is going to be even brighter than my hat.
Oh. And so that's all with alum mordanted yarn?
Yeah, this is all Phaeolus right here.
So why do you have two different colors there?
I don't remember.
Or could it be from the different stitches you're making?
Well, I think it's because they're from two different batches.
Ah, okay.
So it was probably one was like the first skein that I put in.
Like this one you're doing?
Yeah, and then it, the color can shift and change as you keep adding more skeins.
Yeah.
But I don't remember because it was a really long time ago.
Okay.
All right. Good, Mom.
Okay. Well done, Myra.
Thanks, Mom.